Trip Over Radio Show. After hours. No, actually, the last segment of the Trip Over Radio Show. With your boy, Will B. K. Genergy. Hardy Brooklyn. Here at S.STREET Media. And, man, we've had an interesting time tonight. We've been talking about politics. We talked about Trump and Biden doing each other in TV. And then we talked about other things. What did we talk about, y'all?
We talked about having sex with people asleep. Having sex with dead people.
No, we didn't talk about sex with dead people. We talked about people. What was the other one we talked about?
Masturbating in your sleep.
Yeah, masturbating in your sleep. We talked about that and shit.
And people who get off on thinking the person's asleep.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Whether they're faking it or not.
We talk about all of it here on the Trip Over Radio Show. We got one more segment going on, and we're going to try to make it relatively brief so we can go back to our drugs. Or smoking, or whatever people is doing up in here. But we're not doing anything right now, so you can't prove it. Anyway, what we're going to talk about right now is we're going to actually talk about radical self-awareness and who we are sexually.
And how many people are actually aware of themselves.
Yeah, so pretty much it's you I guess during, this show we cater to people's vices that are hidden and stuff like that. But out in the real world, you have a perception that you want people to see and show. And it makes sense because you do certain things, you got a family, you're married and whatnot. So
you have society's constraints and evil rules that they put on you. And everybody's judging you.
Yeah.
Yet they do the same thing in private.
Yeah. So like we were talking about earlier on Trippy News, when we were talking about, puppy, and it was asked, and I was saying your reputation is at stake when these things come to light.
In some situations, like a politician just got caught being bisexual, and he went up in the ratings.
Well, those things happen. Shit. That's all that kissing, people, shit, that's going to lead to something, kissing babies or whatever it is. But but these are the things.
Did you say kissing or kicking?
Kissing.
Oh, I was going to say it's a total.
But whatever it is, I'm just saying. I know I got the Dionne Warwick teeth. Oh my God, these fucking teeth are driving me crazy. But anyway, we're going to actually go ahead and talk a little bit about self-awareness in terms of being who you are all the time, no matter what situation you're in, whether it's sexual, whether it's social, whether it's intimate, private. But as long as you know who you are, it definitely brings you closer to honesty, I guess.
Honesty and happiness. Because the first thing about becoming truly happy is to be aware of who you are fundamentally. To be aware of what you like, what you don't like to do, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, what makes your body tighten up, what makes your body loosen up, what gives you the same euphoria as doing a couple of lines of coke.
I think self-awareness is acceptance. When you're self-aware, it's acceptance. You're accepting who you are. Because if you're not okay with the things that you're doing and who you are, you're not going to be aware of it. And you're going to be oblivious to it.
I think people are aware of it.
So I think it's acceptance.
Well, no, I think people are aware of it. Is it more or less how people? I think you can be yourself once that person knows who you are. But what about so many of the other people that don't know who you are?
I think for people,
nobody ever knows who you are.
I think for people, even to be who they are is really hard. I mean, I work with people all the time for them to figure out what they really like in life and what's going to make them happy. Because a lot of what we want to do is put on by what we see on TV, the porn that we watch.
What we think we're supposed to be doing. We're doing what we think, what society's telling us.
What our mom
what happiness
says,
looks like, what success
says,
looks like. We're
what
doing
the
things that
president
we don't
says.
necessarily
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and those are false things to go for, false expectations and realizations, because that's not truly what I am. I mean, the things that I like to do, without help, I would have never realized them. I mean, I like getting body painted. That's not normal in far as society is concerned.
And other things too, Kia.
And that's not as far as society is concerned. And it took a long time for me to get the people around me to accept me for who I was. And people still look at me like I'm a freak and I'm crazy. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? I got to show off the art of some amazing artist and like become art and become alive for that piece of artwork for the night and entertain and interact with people in a positive way and not hurt anyone. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why should somebody, if somebody likes to basically have sex with people when they're sleeping, if both parties are consensual, there's nothing wrong with that.
Do you wake them up in mid snore and be like, "Hey, honey, do you mind if I grope you?"
I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of them being asleep, though.
Yeah, you don't want to wake them up then. That's like they're not asleep. But if you negotiate with your partner that, hey, once you fall asleep, I can bang the shit out of you.
Yeah, but like I said, but those are the things that are hidden. Those are the things that where you don't want to know. A lot of people don't want to know the answer because they're so afraid.
They don't ask the question.
No, they're afraid because they've been told that all the shit that makes you feel good is taboo.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is some of it.
It's not. It's only taboo because there's people that control society and are afraid of it and are afraid of their own selves say it's not good. I mean, look at everybody that's in office. All of these guys that are saying having sex out of wedlock is wrong, having abortion is wrong, having sex with other men is wrong. All of these people keep constantly getting caught with their pants down or their pants up.
Doing some kinky things.
Doing some crazy kinky thing.
When your wife is you're only supposed to do missionary with your wife, because if you do doggy style, then you're treating her like a whore, and that's your wife.
Really?
There's still people that believe that.
There's
people that believe that and only are having missionary sex with their spouses. I'm sure they're having real freaky, kinky sex with people who aren't their spouses.
Talk about near the cross. Shit.
I mean, you have people like Roger Stone that thinks like it's not good, like publicly, don't have sex out of marriage, don't do all of these things yet. He's going to sex parties and raping people left and right in the old days before he became
And who
big.
made that rule that you should only be who you should be having sex with and what you should be doing whatever you want to be doing with? Who made that rule?
I don't think that's I don't think that's more so a general. I mean, well, look, you know what the thing about is society has an expectation that everybody is supposed to act decent. Everybody's supposed to act normal. But decent
is a perception, and normal is a perception.
Right.
What I think is decent is very different than what you think is decent. What I think is decent is very different than what Trump thinks is decent. I don't think having a girl who doesn't want to be passed around the room as a guy's play toy is decent. The president thinks that's perfectly fine. I think that if she didn't consent to that, that shouldn't happen.
It's fine in his world because he calls that a stimulus plan. I think.
I'm sure he was stimulated.
But that's two different perceptions of the same situation. In my world, the girl gets asked who she'd like to do and what she'd like to do. In his world, the girl is told. And both are considered decent acts.
Yeah, well, that's true because it's his payment gives up the impression that I have the option of what happens, how it happens, who you are, what I'm going to call you, how you're going to respond to me, and all those.
But that's really not decent because that's degrading the person. That's not treating the person for who they really are. That's turning around and saying, hey, you are subservient to me. You are beneath me. I control you. I manipulate you. And that's not right. You shouldn't be manipulating other people. You should let people choose what they want to do because you'll have a way better fucking experience. Like, if you want to have some crazy sexual activity with somebody, do it with somebody that's fucking on board. You know how much better it's going to be?
But, all right, well, then look at it this way. Then look at it from the perception of, you know what, especially if you are the one that's subservient. Whether it's a husband and wife, someone's being told what to do. If it's a dom and sub, someone's being told what to do. If it's a client and an escort, a client and a prostitute, you're being told what to do, what to expect, how they want it, and stuff like that.
And you should be given the right to choose whether or not to have that activity or not. You shouldn't be forced to have that activity. And when you're given the right to choose whether or not to have that activity, it's going to be a way more pleasant experience for both people.
For sure.
I mean, think about the people that do porn. They're asked and told everything they do before they do it. They know what they're getting into, most of them, if they pay attention. They know that they're going to get abused. They know the scene's going to go 20 hours longer than they want it to be. They know that they have to bring their own lube. They know all of these components. Whether they choose to listen to them and act on them is their own choice, but they're given usually the choice.
Even in like a dominant and submissive type of situation, a lot of people think that the dominant is in control and the submissive is just being submissive. And
Topping from the bottom.
Right. So you have to be, the submissive is the one who's in control because they're deciding what's actually going to happen or what they're going to allow to happen. And there's negotiation within that, and you discuss boundaries and consent so that both parties go into it in a healthy way and getting a full experience from it. And even though the dominant is controlling the shit out of you in a situation, in a scene or something, but the submissive is still the one in charge. No matter what it looks like, what the picture of it looks like.
They still put their boundaries up. They still put their limits. If I'm a dominant and I say, oh, I'm going to give you a spanking or a big old flogging, the submissive is going to say how much and what you can use. I'm not going to usually be able to choose. They might say you can choose from these 10 weapons, but I can't turn around and decide I don't like those weapons. I want to use glass on a rope if the submissive didn't say that.
Interesting. Educator.
So they're really controlling.
So it's really, it's a mutual control and it's a mutual understanding. How that plays out, it's playing out within certain parameters.
So you don't think that that people should, that your identity should not be, are you saying that you think a person's identity should be the same through all aspects or all factors of their life, or do you think they should be cut and skewed into each specific aspect of their life?
I think that people for themselves need to have the same person throughout their lives. What they present, depending on their situation, is going to be very different. What they present to the real world might be different. So I present myself a certain way in certain situations. When I'm in other situations, I present myself a different way. So like, for instance, I would show up here pretty much naked. I'll get on the subway pretty much naked.
Ain't that the truth?
We have pictures for that to prove that too.
So I have no problem doing that. But if I'm walking in to give a boundaries and consent talk, I'm going to dress and present myself as a certain way. If I'm walking in with a life coaching client, I'm not going to show up naked. I'm going to show up dressed in a way that is acceptable to them because I don't want society's pushback on me, and I want to respect other people's boundaries because if I want them to respect mine, I have to respect theirs. And we get in a situation with a lot of parts of society where you have to respect my boundaries, but I don't have to respect yours because I'm paying you, or you're below me, or you're my assistant, or you're this, or you're that, or you're my wife and you should be doing this. That's not good for anybody's mental psyche.
And boundaries shouldn't be taken personally by someone else. Whatever a person's boundaries are, that's their boundaries, and they're entitled to have that.
And it has nothing to do with you as a person. It has to do with them protecting themselves from situations.
So when we say who a person really is a person who they really are as it relates to that moment, or who they really are as it relates to just life overall?
I try to bring it back to relating to life overall because who you are in a moment is a character that you're playing. There's an underlying bunch of research and information that creates that character throughout life. So I try to work with people to step back and say, who am I really? What do I like to do? What makes me feel warm inside? What makes me feel yucky inside? And when you start getting connected to when you do activities and how your body responds, you'll realize who you are really quick. So when I do certain activities that my body doesn't like going to corporate meetings, that my body hates. What happens an hour before every meeting or 2 hours or even when I plan it, I start getting tightness in the back. But if I plan that same meeting, it's not a corporate meeting, but a meeting where we're going to talk about a boundary and consent workshop or discovering your true self or overcoming fear or getting it ready for change, because I am not having to dress with the suit and tie and all buttoned up and I get to come as who I truly am, it makes it, my back doesn't get tight. My body responds in a positive way, like, hey, you're doing what you love to do. You're talking about topics you like to talk about, and you get to go there the way you are.
And you're giving more and receiving more in the process of that.
And I get respected way more. When I was a technology consultant, I was a really good technology consultant. And the places that I worked were pretty high end. But because of my alternative lifestyle or dressing differently, I didn't get a lot of the promotions, but I did the work. I got the money on the back end, but my name was never put anywhere. I never got the promotion to be vice president, but I was doing basically the same work as the president, but I wasn't getting the promotion because I didn't play the game and I didn't fit in. And I didn't get the respect from other people around me because, oh, he's that crazy party guy. Well, the crazy party guy is the one that's doing the work, designing the systems, and you guys are like freeloading.
Sustaining, taking care of yourself.
Well, I'm taking care of them.
Right, but I mean, still, in the end, you're taking care of yourself.
Correct. And when I left there, which was leaving a huge salary to go become a coach, the amount of work that they had to take on was kind of interesting. Like the amount of people that replaced me, it wasn't just one. It was 2 outside teams and 2 inside managers. And that kind of like makes me think back to like all these people are still freeloading along the way because they never.
But yeah, that doesn't even matter because you killed it when you were in the game of it, and now you're doing you.
And now I'm doing me.
You're winning.
And for me, it was finding out what my authentic self was and what was more important to me. Living the life that I want to live, going to the parties I want to live, having the friends that are like-minded. Like my friends are way more like-minded than me. The people that surround me think the same way. They're not questioning everything or saying, ew, that's weird, or how do you do that? And I have a lot of friends that still do that. Like, when I got body painted for that party, there was somebody at the party who was like, holy shit, I can't believe you showed up to a party like this. And I'm like, well, I'm getting paid to be here, so I'm going to be here.
Shit. You know what, Hardy, just for the record, I accept who you are. I can't accept them little itty-bitty drawers you be wearing. That should be the one night. Oh my god!
The one night he had the harness on, and we were taking pictures against the brick wall, and somebody turned the corner and came around and was like, "Whoa!" Like it's interesting to see people's reactions to you because standing next to you, it all seems very normal, and then.
And it does.
Comes around and they're like, "Oh my God, what is going on?"
And the one thing I've learned, because I've been around the most, I've been to probably 16 countries since I've changed my lifestyle. And the one thing that I've noticed is that depending on the country, depends on the reaction. There are certain countries like Germany, nobody even gives me the freaking time of day. I fit in perfectly there. I got lost and I ended up going home naked on the subway, and the whole interaction with the police was, "Are you warm enough, sir?" I mean, that was the only question. They didn't ask me my name. They didn't ask anything. They were like, "Are you warm enough, sir?" And obviously I wasn't, so they gave me a blanket. But nobody questioned me on the train. And when I did body painting events there, nobody questioned them. When I dressed like a freak, nobody questions me. Some people comment about the patterns and the color mixing, but
they actually question, "Look at this motherfucker that's dressed on the train like this."
I have a
but
picture.
That happens here. That happens in America. My whole lifestyle is constantly being questioned. Where I work with a coaching group that's international, and everybody that's international thinks I'm normal. And when a new person from America comes in, and they're like, everybody's like, "Oh, check out his Instagram feed. It's great." And then literally 10 minutes later, in the middle of the call, is, "I can't believe you think Hardy's Instagram feed is great." That's the response we get. And then people from like New Zealand are like, "What do you mean? He's doing all this crazy stuff." Or the guy from Britain is doing, they're all positively reinforcing me because they don't look at what I'm doing as a negative taboo because they're not so set on, it's got to be my way or the highway.
Right. Everything's not cookie cutter like the whole system is designed to be. You know, like everybody's supposed to look a certain way,
Correct.
Dress a certain way. Yeah.
There's much more expression. And as a country, as we start allowing more expression, what happens? The government clamps down because they don't want us to express. They don't want us to be in love with each other.
Right.
Because as you see by what's going on today, how is the president feeding the non-progressive side of the world? They're feeding them with fear and anger and threatening them to fight or calling on them to fight.
And peaceful protests are treated with violence.
Correct. You show up with guns, they're going to please leave you alone.
That was supposed to be a right, I thought. Wasn't that a right? Isn't that a right of ours?
Correct.
To be able to peacefully protest, and we're not allowed to do that now.
Well, it is, but his platform of that propaganda that he is laying out there kind of sets the tone for anything else that's honest in terms of something that is not American.
Correct.
Or something that is not patriotic, or something that is, that's not,
part of the program,
part of the culture, or cultural American.
But it's creating the culture and it's creating what you want to believe. It's not letting the people be who they want to be, and it's not letting us as a society create what we want to be, because the art that comes out during prosperity and mutual understanding is very different art that comes out that's under oppression.
I think it would be for most people. I think people would appreciate Trump, I hate talking about that motherfucker, but I think people would appreciate him more if he just came out and said, "I hate you," or "I hate who you are," or "I hate this color," or "I hate this." I think we would best appreciate you just saying that more, as opposed to offsetting it, or giving up the impression that something else, or trying to use something else that's already said as an alibi to.
And it's not just Trump, it's everybody in society, because when people look at me, they don't say why they hate me. They just say they're disgusted, they're disgusted, they're disgusted. And when I actually get to meet and talk to a lot of these people,
on the table, we hear you.
when I get to meet and talk to these, sorry. So when I meet some of these people, a lot of the time it is not disgust. It's jealousy and envy. It's because I am able to live my true self. I'm able to be my true
You don't give
being.
a fuck, having no
I don't
fucks to
care.
give. That's
It doesn't
important,
affect
I
me.
think.
And they get really mad when it doesn't affect me.
Okay. Well, we're gonna let everybody get one more word because we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. Show. Jenna G, I'm gonna let you get the one last Trump in terms of just give us a couple of words of advice how people can live in their true self. What are a couple of things that they can do? Give your social media handle after your advice.
Okay. I think definitely by being true to yourself and being accepting. Like I believe that's having self-awareness and even doing the work in who you are and finding out who you are and what drives you, what makes you happy. You definitely have to experience some of what doesn't make you happy to know what does, or things that drive you. You know inside of you what your special gift is, even if you're not aware of it seeing it out in the world or seeing it in a physical form. But everybody has that, and I think just being accepting of yourself helps you to get to that and gets you to be able to be a presence for people and not anything in a negative way, because we have enough negative stuff going on in the world. We can keep it positive, love each other, be self-accepting, and look for what really you need and what you desire. That's why I'm into platonic touch the way that I am, in cuddling, because people need just to be acknowledged and to be accepted and be present with them. We're not living in a society where we're present. We're always running after something. We're thinking about the past that didn't serve us, or we're worrying about something in the future that isn't even to come. And slowing it down and being present, I think, helps you to be strong within yourself and your strangeness.
All right, that's pretty interesting.
Whatever. You asked me to say something.
I know, just playing. Jen, give me your social media handles.
Instagram, it's Jen Tattoos with a Z. And you can reach me at phillycuddlist.com. You can also reach me at cuddlist.com/JenniferL/ if you're interested in a cuddle session.
Okay, go ahead. Hardy Brooklyn, one last word and your social.
So if you want to be your true self, the one thing you always want to constantly think about is when you do something or think about something, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Not how does it make you feel because of what your mom said or what society said. Think about if you want to do it and if you like it and if it makes you have a positive feeling. And if you do something that you don't like that everybody else likes, maybe it's and you don't like it, maybe it's because you don't want to be doing it and you should be looking at something else to do. So start asking yourself when you do things, do I really want to do this? Am I getting out of it what I want to get, or am I getting out of it what everybody else around me thinks I should get out of it? I'm Hardy Brooklyn. You can reach me at hardybrooklyn.com. You can reach me at The Free and Open Mind, which is where I do a weekly podcast with Miss Michelle, a female dominatrix. It's all fun. We talk about living your true self. And you can also get me at hardybrooklyn.nyc on the Instagrams. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Yes, and it's me, Will BK. I don't know. I think that my parting words is it's not as easy to just come out to the public and say, you know what, hey, this is who I am. You know, I think
no, it's not.
And you don't have to.
And you need to be passionate with yourself.
Anybody about anything you don't want to tell anybody. It's nobody's business. Whatever you want to do is what you want to do.
Everything's in time. Everything's in time. When you're ready, basically, when you're ready. But and then once you are ready,
just remember it's going to affect you, the people around you, and how people relate to you.
And how people relate to you.
So you want to think about that.
You want to think about that, okay? And that's my advice. Anyway, catch me on Instagram at WillBeeKay, WILLBEEKAY. Also, Trip Over Radio Show, TRIPOVERADIO. You can also see William Kirksey on Facebook. Damn, I knew it was something. I need another drink. Anyway, every week we will be back here next week with some new shit going on. And
on S.STREET Media.
On S.STREET Media, definitely. I forgot about S.STREET Media. See right there, S.STREET Media on Instagram, and you can find them on Facebook as well. Anyway, I'm Will BK. That's Jen, Ergie, Hardy Brooklyn. All of us are saying good night here from S.STREET Media. Hope you had a good time, everybody, and see you next time.
Peace, everybody.